Hi, and welcome to Emergency Substitute Training. My name is Jordan Lazowski, and this training course is designed to provide you with information, strategies, and resources to become a successful classroom substitute teacher. At the bottom of this presentation, you will see my contact information with my email, jordan.lazowski@iu1.org, and my phone number at 724-938-3241, extension 405. At any time during your process, you have any questions or need to reach out, feel free to email or call me. Now, this is a little different than it had been in the past. So we used to have our course on Moodle, and now we have everything in Evolve through a video function, and all of your work will be collected through a Google form. Here you will see there will be a QR code where you can scan with your phone or tablet to access the Google form. And to the right of that is the Google form link. You can do either of these. Either scan this code or go to the website here, which I will navigate to in a second. And I will just go through a little bit at the top here. In order to become an emergency sub, you must watch this video in completion and complete the entire Google form and all the questions and requirements from there. If you are not planning on completing this training all in one session or all at one time, my suggestion is that you save your work either in a Google Doc or in a Microsoft Word document to later copy and paste all of your responses into the form. That way, if your internet times out or you have any computer errors, you would be able to re-access any of your information and not lose and have to start over again. Upon completion of this Google form, at the end of this video, we at the IU will notify the district or districts in which you plan on substituting for and let them know that you're done with the training portion of the course. From there, you will still be required to send in all your paperwork, and they are the ones that send all that stuff in at that point. So this is the training part, and then we will go ahead and talk to your districts, and you can go from there. So I'm going to show how this works and a little bit of how you might be able to fill this out. So go to the web here link, and it will bring up a Google form which says emergency substitute training activities. And this is where all of your work will be done. This is the portion of the class that needs to actually be completed. The other part is a video just to watch. So I'm going to go through and explain how this all works. There are some helpful tips and tricks here as well. Anything linked in blue you can go out to and navigate. So I'm just going to show you briefly. If you want any additional information, anytime you see links, you can go to them. So this is just tips and tricks. There are tips and tricks for a substitute classroom. And it tells you how to do, like, put together a teacher bag, arrive early, create a routine at the beginning of class, be understanding, use other teachers and other subs as a resource, how to maintain control, consider any special needs students, always good to have a backup plan, have fun, leave a note, and clean up your classroom. So there's more details with all those and additional links, but I'm just trying to show you these to be helpful. And then this is where you're actually filling out the information again on this Google form. So you would put your most active email address you use. I would recommend putting here your first and last name, a phone number that's the easiest to reach you on, preferably a cell phone. Please list the school district name or names you're planning on subbing for. So if you're only planning on subbing for one district, and say that district is Trinity Area School District, just put that in there. If it's multiple, it will allow you to put in multiple districts here. So you can put in Trinity, say California. And that's just to show you as an example. So you can list multiple ones there. Characteristics of effective substitute teachers. So this is where you're actually doing some of the assignments and work. And what we want you to do in this section is to basically become familiar with the role and regulations of a substitute teacher and what you would need to bring to the classroom. So you'll see throughout here, there's going to be various things linked as we go through. Each one of them corresponds with the assignment area that you would have to do. So for this one, it's saying identify 3 characteristics that a teacher should have to be successful in the classroom. You may take from the article or give us 3 of your own. Explain why you chose each one of the characteristics that you did. So below there will be an article. And you can go through and read this at your leisure. And it will give you multiple characteristics, or as it said, you can come up with your own and list 3 and explain them here. So you would just type your response here. And this is where I said, if you're not planning on doing all of this at one time, I would recommend you save this in a Word document or just a Google Doc and then copy and paste the responses in later. So that would just be by going to, anything on your computer and then posting these in later. You can access this form at any time. Classroom management is the next section. Review the presentation on classroom management. Choose one topic from the presentation and summarize in the form linked below. So the answer here is in the form. So you would just click on this link and go through the slides talking about lesson plans, getting to know the class, classroom management strategies, strategies for behavior management, sub-planning, resources. There are major behavior infractions and discipline referrals, the procedures for all of that. And this just goes through step by step. So you can read this at your leisure and go back and then complete the answer here in the classroom management. So again, you would just enter your response here. And then the emergency substitute resources. This is an area where if you need to have, as a successful substitute teacher or any teacher, as many resources in, as we call a toolbox, to assist with what you're doing in the classroom. So in most cases, you would be given a detailed lesson plan by the teacher who would be absent for whatever reason, sick, personal, field trip, if there's professional development, whatever the case may be. There should be a detailed plan, usually with copies and stuff run out, but we know that not everything is a perfect world. Sometimes there is, an emergency or death in the family or something of that nature where a teacher cannot be present and simply doesn't have the time to get stuff like that ready. There typically are emergency subfolders at districts, but if you get into a situation where you're just there and there isn't a whole lot of direction left by the classroom teacher, the more resources you have, the more equipped you will be. So I have a link here for emergency sub online resources. So again, following the same scheme here, what we'd like you to do is to click on the emergency sub online resource link. And I have it broken down here of subject of different and valuable websites you can use for any of the subjects. So there are ELA, which is English and Language Arts. And again, everything on here is free and accessible for you. You can go down and there's math. There's a plethora of math sites as well. Science, STEM, history and social studies, art and music, foreign language, health and physical education. And again, you could spend a little bit or a lot of bit of time going through these. That's up to you. All you do to click on any of these is just to click on the link, and it will take you directly to the link that has the resource available for you. So you can use this at your leisure. And then all we're asking you on this site is to go through, and after exploring some of the online resources linked above, I want you to pick 2 of them and write a brief summary. Now, obviously there's going to be millions of sites that are available for education. Obviously some are better than others. This is a list of good and vetted resources, but if you have ones that you already use or are familiar with, please share them in here as well. They do not just strictly have to be from this link. You can add to and write a brief summary of your own and put that in. And again, you would just be typing your site here. So say you use PBS Kids and Google Earth, and then enter a summary of how you use them or would use them in the classroom. Okay. Classroom scenarios is the next one, and these are also very valuable section for classroom teachers and for emergency subs. So there are 2 scenarios we have linked here. I want you to watch both of them, and then you're going to just choose one of them and explain what you observed. What were some good things that you noticed in the lesson? And also what were some maybe not so good things, and maybe list any questions you have about them. So again, they're both fairly brief scenarios. You watch them on your leisure. You just click scenario 1 to watch the first one. It will pull up a video clip. And I mean, there will be an ad or anything maybe at the first. It only takes a couple seconds, but the video will play. I'm not going to make you watch the video in this section of this. It will be on your own time, but it's a 2-minute and 53-second, and this is called ineffective classroom management. So you would watch the actual classroom and see what's going on and explain, if that's the one you choose, explain what was observed, what are some things you noticed, and some possible ways that it could be improved. If it's scenario 2 you choose, again, this one's a little bit of a longer video, but it shows a special education classroom. And again, I'm not going to make you watch it at this time, but this would be where you can watch either one of these to give a summary on. And I do recommend you watch them both to have the skills and knowledge from them, but you're only choosing one to list. So you choose one and type a summary. Okay. Now, once you have done this, and it's, it will take a little bit of time to go through all of this. And once you get to this point and you're ready to submit the Google form, you are solely responsible for reaching out to the district. So things have changed. The IU used to be a one that could go and do this through the state. Now it's the local LEA, which is the district that you're planning on doing it in. And if it's multiple districts, you would have to reach out to all of them. And the communication from you and the district is between the substitute candidate and you at this point, not the IU. We here at the IU do not submit or issue emergency sub certificates nor licenses. So again, reiterating, you must send the district office or offices, the ones that you're planning on subbing in, all of the state required documents and then any other additional information they may require from you. So if they're asking you for references or for additional information on your resume or anything like that, that is their prerogative. That's a per district thing. It's a local decision. So you would have to contact them. But as a way of just giving you a little bit of a background of what you will personally need, you will need your bachelor's degree, official transcript, a federal criminal history background check, a PA state police criminal history clearance, and your child abuse clearance. So if you have any questions on how to get those, I put the link to the PDE, Department of Education, clearances and background checks. And there are the links to get all of those for you, so you don't have to go out searching for them. If you had any other questions about any of that, there's the number at the state as well as their email address. But again, I just have that linked right here in their clearances link. And for the emergency permit link, again, that will be going through the district, not through IU1. Our part is just this online training and the Google form. An emergency permit link, you would click on here. And you could see that there's all the links and requirements for all of that as well. So that's just a link, helpful link for you, so you don't have to go out searching for it. What we will do here at the IU, if you do wish to teach at any of the districts here, we will reach out to those districts and let them know that you have completed basically the theory part of the emergency sub training, which is what this is. So by doing so, at the bottom, it says, congratulations, you have completed the IU1 portion of emergency sub training. Thank you and best of luck. If you have completed all of the questions and requirements above, so filled out your email, your name, phone number, the districts that you're planning on subbing, and then all of the questions and from the articles and presentation and resources and scenarios above, you would click yes and submit. When you hit submit, it will send a automatic notification to me that whoever, the name and email that was filled out there completed it, and it will show the districts. We would then contact those districts and say, yes, Jane Doe completed the necessary requirements on the online training portion. Just make sure that they're getting all your paperwork in and that it's in the district's hands from that point. So that's really what I wanted to go over with you for everything. And then that's really the nuts and bolts of everything for the emergency sub training requirements. If you have any questions, again, on anything, please contact me directly at jordan.lazowski@iu1.org, and my phone number is 724-938-3241, extension 405. Now, there's just a couple of things in addition that I wanted to go over with everybody as well. Remember, the most important part of all of this is completing that Google form. That is what will lead you to getting the notifications to the district or districts you wish to sub at, that you would have to have their paperwork in, but this is the first portion you have to do as well. But some other information I just wanted to go over with you briefly, some school policies and procedures. Just again, we just want you to have a general understanding of emergency procedures, direction on attendance and other procedures in the classroom at the districts you're in, class clarification of responsibilities beyond the classroom, and any important rules and policies you would need at the district. So dress code is one thing. Definitely check the assignment, and if you're it's saying if you're going in for a high school math position, would be different than dressing for a elementary physical education teacher. Dress professionally and appropriate for a teacher. These are just some guidelines as well for that, and you can always check with the local district that you're in of their policy. For instance, another thing I'd say, if it's a lot of places will have a casual Friday or a jeans Friday, and if you're in on a Friday, you would be eligible to do that as well. So just kind of get the lay of the land with things there. The daily routine, arrive on time. Rule of thumb is to try to get there a half an hour before the first class is scheduled. But definitely check with the district and see what time the teacher sign in is, and you want to be there at least by that. And that differs from elementary to middle school to high school at districts. And you just have to check with their schedule. A lot of times there will be substitute folders as well. Sometimes it's what's left is most current by the teacher, and other times there are actually substitute packets that teachers make at the beginning of the year that are interchangeable throughout the year with pre-made lesson plans and resources for you to go off of. Be prepared. Again, take a look and try to find and familiarize yourself with the schools that you're going to be in. Ask them if you can have access to the school safety and emergency guide. Sometimes those are even online, depending on the district. But that's important if there are things like fire drill or other emergencies. And if you are in a situation where you don't have that access to that and something like that happens, try to find a buddy teacher in your hallway and see and kind of model off them and get some information from them as well. Because sometimes, things don't always go as planned. So again, just looking at any evacuation maps and anything like that you would need to do. So one other big thing is, there's 180 days of instruction for each teacher each year. If you are fortunate to have a lesson plan provided for you, please go off of what the teacher leaves, because that's keeping the kids on pace for the teacher comes back. That it's not just a day that just kind of evaporated. There's still learning and activities going on that's consistent with what they're doing. Prior to entering classroom, report to the admin office, obtain any keys that might be necessary, ask about student passes and special procedures. Ask if there are going to be any extra duties, as in like a lunch duty or gym duty, study halls, things like that. Find out how to report tardy or missing students. Find the locations of the restrooms and the teacher's lounge for yourself. Ask the name of teachers of both sides of your classroom and introduce yourself to them. Yeah, that's very important because they're going to be your best allies, especially in a building that you're new in, and they can help you kind of get the lay of the land as much as needed. And also familiarize yourself if there's any students with medical problems or specific allergies or anything like that you would need to be aware of. Additional daily routine in the classroom before school. Always want to enter with confidence. Write your name as you wish to be addressed. So if you're Mr. Jones and want to go by Mr. J, or if you want them to call you Mr. Jones specifically, again, that's up to you, and have that on the board. Review your expectations or rules, and the classroom ones, if any, are posted as well, and what's to be expected. Locate the school evacuation map in case of an emergency. Read through the lesson plans left by the teacher. That's why it is important to get there early to have a grip and grasp of what's going on prior to beginning your day. Locate any books, papers, or materials that will be needed throughout the day. Again, in a perfect world, the classroom teacher would leave the necessary copies of any handouts, worksheets, resources that you would be using with your students. Again, I'm realistic and know how the real world works. That doesn't always happen. So at least if you are able to locate anything that you would need to make copies of or how to go about doing so, the earlier with that, the better, as well. Study the seating charts if you can't find any. Get ready to make your own. When the bell rings, stand in the hallway and greet students as they enter the classroom. That differs from school to school, but most schools actually require that, so definitely check with that. And you should be there as even for crowd control for the classrooms, for the hallways, I mean. Daily routine throughout the day. Greet the students at the door and try to get involved with learning activities as quickly as possible. Getting some hook or anything at the beginning to get them brought in, and use your time effectively throughout the period, whatever time it is. If it's a full period all day or a block period, utilize your time, because the more they're on task, the less behavior issues there will be. Carry out your lesson plans to the best of your ability. Again, if you're say a sixth grade social studies teacher and you're subbing for a 12th grade AP chemistry class, no one expects you to be a master of the content, but just to do your best of your ability and to carry on as much as you can with that, and follow along and help and be a facilitator and a guide to the students as much as possible. Improvise using materials in the classroom to fill any extra time, enhance activities, or supplement any sketchy lesson plans as needed, because sometimes they're fairly generic. I always recommend to have some additional activities in your back pocket that can kind of be universal. Again, the goal of bell to bell work does decrease behavior issues immensely. Be fair and carry out any rewards and consequences you establish, and be positive in interactions with the students and school personnel. Okay, at the end of each classroom, make sure that all the materials are accounted for: books, calculators, Chromebooks, laptops, tablets, whatever the case may be. Challenge students to recall projects and topics that they have studied. Remind students if there is any homework or if there is any that had been previously due. Have students straighten up and clean up their area. Again, that's another thing. If there is a little bit of extra time at the end, use that to your advantage. At the end of the day, it's always nice to write a brief report about the day of the permanent teacher, and if there were any issues or any specific students that caused issues, they want to know, and let them know that you were watching that as well, and you want to report that to them. Write a brief, neatly organize the papers turned in by students so that the teachers can find them accordingly. Close windows, turn off the lights and equipment, and make sure the room is in good order before you leave, and lock the door. Turn in any keys or other materials to the office and sign out at the appropriate time. So if the teachers are allowed to leave at 2:45 or 3:15, whatever the case may be at the building, that's when it would be appropriate for you to sign out as well. Check to see again if you'll be needed again the next day in that specific classroom or in another one in that building. Jot down a few notes for yourself of what was accomplished, how things went, just some ways to improve, and that's just for you personally. And then complete any paperwork that is required. If there is a evacuate school or any type of drill, fire drill, bomb threat, anything like that, some tips and tricks: just remain calm and collected. Remember, your students are looking to you for guidance and protection. It's why it is important to establish at least some working relationship with the teachers and surrounding you, that they can be your ally for situations like this. Remove the class roster and evacuation slip in the binder. No cell phone usage is allowed during this. So again, for both students and for teachers, don't be on your phone checking something when in an emergency situation, even if it is a drill. Escorts your students to the designated area. Count the students as they leave the room as your room. Stay in a group. No locker or bathroom visits would be allowed. Take attendance, complete with the names of all students present, which would be included all the students that are not on your roster, as well as the names of students who are missing. And then maintain silence. and return to the building when an all clear signal has been given. So these are pretty standard, but just again, this is there for you to go over. If there's a lockdown, all the safety issues that has happened in the last 20 or so years, there sometimes are lockdowns. Pull any students in the hallway that are near to your classroom into your room, even if they aren't your student at the time, and shut the door. It should be locked. If not, lock the door. Close the shades and blinds. Close windows. Turn off the lights and have students sit on the floor against the wall where they're not visible from the door window or from the exterior windows. Ignore all fire alarms unless you physically see a smoke or fire. Take attendance. Only call the office if you have a student elsewhere, say at the nurse, have a student who is not assigned to you, or have an adult in the room not assigned to your location. If your attendance is complete and normal, please do not call the office, especially in a time of potential crisis. The office will do an all call once the lockdown is complete, whether it's a drill or real. Just again, some brief other daily responsibilities. The school day does not end until all students have left the building and they're on the bus to go home. Accidents, illnesses, administration of medication, or other emergencies should be immediately reported to the principal or assistant principal. Some other responsibilities for you too. Cell phones or iPad usage. The use of phones or tablets or Chromebooks or whatever the device may be is at the discretion of the teacher. Please check if the lesson plans have guidance for whether they're allowed to be using those or not. Or say if they're doing a specific project on their Chromebooks, then obviously they would have to use those. Otherwise, the cell phone use is at your discretion and is based on your comfort level. Treat cell phone use as a minor discipline issue unless the use is a direct violation of any major rule. Say like visiting if you see them on inappropriate websites, taking pictures or videos of other people, and then respond accordingly. Again, we talked about this briefly, but hallway monitoring between periods, you should always be visible as a presence, as an adult presence, and kind of just set the tone and service crowd control. Again, privacy is critical. Through the course of any substitute placement, you'll be undoubtedly coming across information about students' needs, services, etc. You must treat all of this information as confidential to the school. So, and it is confidential. So make sure that you are aware of that with any kid's information. And just a brief summary too, substitute teachers are expected to be professional, keep confidentiality, follow all procedures of the district where you're teaching, and be aware of the legal aspect of the jobs. Develop proper classroom management, and you'll become more adverse to that the more you sub, and follow the daily routine of the school and the building. Remember, in following school procedures, you're going to go a long way in providing students with the consistency that they need to be successful, and establish those up front, and it will help you and be consistent, and it will help you in the long run. And familiarize yourself with all the evacuation routes, the sub plans, the schedule for the day. The more you prepare, the better it will be for the student's education. It's just a little Abraham Lincoln quote: "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." So preparation is key to becoming a successful substitute teacher. And again, my contact information is listed here below. Now, the last part I want to go through and just a recap is where all of the work you will actually be doing, other than watching this video, would be going to this QR code, going to the Google form link, and then filling out all of this information after that we had gone through. And when you're done, you hit submit. We notify the district. that you have completed the online portion of the training, and then again, you are responsible for reaching out to the district after all of this as well. We'll let them know that you completed this part, but with your what paperwork and everything you need, like your clearances, your bachelor's degree, your transcripts, all of that stuff, and your actual permit themselves goes through the district itself. So we'll let them know that you did this part of it, but you will be responsible for reaching out to them and making sure that they have all the stuff that's necessary. And again, any questions, please contact me. And that is all we have. So thank you, and I appreciate everything. If you have any questions, please let me know.